All right. I don't know. Okay. Hello. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adedoyin Ajeyomi. I'm a geospatial specialist. I call myself a geospatial specialist because sometimes I struggle to even say which of them I am. I don't know if I should say I'm a geospatial analyst or a geospatial data engineer or a geospatial developer because everything I do is actually surrounded by geospatial GIS. So I will be sharing a solution with us, and also we'll be discussing about Nigeria geodata. We'll be talking about data in Nigeria. How are they? What are they? The component of what we have already, and what we can get from them. I know a lot of us have been attending a lot of sessions since Monday, and almost all the sessions have been on AI, ML, AI. And people are not really talking about where are these data? How do we have access to data? What are we building to have access to data? Are we building any solutions? Are we connecting to any existing data? So that's what my talk is majorly going to be about. So, for the sake of those people that are new to GIS, I just want to give us a brief introduction to GIS, which simply means Geographical Information System. So, when you are talking about GIS, it's actually talking about geolocation, like your location on the Earth surface, like the place we are currently in. It's actually a location on the Earth surface. Different phenomenon within the Earth surface actually have their own geolocation. So GIS is you actually taking the geo metadata of all these attributes and using them to solve problem. For example, during the COVID-19, that was when GIS was at its peak because they need something to visualize. How is it spreading? Where is it growing? How many people are dying? From where to where? So at that point, they had to develop a geospatial dashboard, and a lot of people get to be introduced to the GIS world and its capability. But the issue still remains that a lot of people are not still introduced to what can be done with GIS. So in GIS, we have different type of data models. We have the vector, which has to do with the points, point representing hospitals, locations, line representing roads, streams, and polygon, which is like a boundary, representing state and every other thing. And we have the raster, which has to do with the satellite imagery, drone imagery, real imagery, and all this stuff have geolocation, so they can be used to solve problem. And you can also do your machine learning algorithm on this image, like object detection, like mapping of flooding, predicting flooding, like mapping of disaster, existing disaster, and also mapping disease cluster. So a lot can be done with geodata. So how do we handle this data? One of the satellite that we have, Landsat satellite, actually generates gigabytes of data at a single orbit. So it moves around the Earth every 14 days, and that every 14 days it generates 100 gigabytes of data. And there is a lot of data. For example, now if you want to download satellite imagery for like the Landsat or the Sentinel for Nigeria, you'll be looking at something around 1 terabyte of data that you have to download just for a single year or for a single time that the satellite actually move around Nigeria. Now look at downloading the data from for different years. It becomes a problem because you need a way to automate all this stuff. So that's why the geospatial ecosystem, Python is very important because we use Python to automate a lot of our processes. So that's why currently now in the world of AI, we also have Geo AI. That is artificial intelligence on geospatial data. And that's where AI is really going to forget all this RAG, word search, and everything. Because recently, Google released Alpha 8 embedding, which is in terabytes of data to actually use to study different phenomena on the Earth surface. So you cannot do without geospatial because all these Uber, all of them, they are generating your trip data, your track data. They are generating all this data. They are using it to make decision on to understand the busy location, to understand traffic, to be able to bring different people to different times. Uber actually have a full department that is actually dedicated to geospatial, that they are building different open source solution So and when you talk about climate change again, you are talking about weather data. If you have access to rainfall data, some physics model with geospatial that has been done, you will see some global prediction of global warming of different scenario that has been predicted. These data are in terabytes, like petabytes, like they are very big that you need to go beyond the normal simple GIS to ArcGIS to actually use them. So GIS is very big. It cuts across every sector. You talked about agriculture. It goes towards that. You talk about every part of human endeavor. So if you're interested in GIS, you are advised to actually learn Python because if you are using the drag and drop tool, and you want to go far into dealing with all this big data, like predicting meteorological phenomenon, predicting what should happen, like when you are studying climate change, deforestation, all this stuff, you need to learn Python. So he's telling us how important Python is in the geospatial ecosystem. You can see some of the tools I've put here. They are actually used to handle geospatial data, both time series, their vector, raster, and everything. So you can even see we have GeoTouch. That is PyTorch for geospatial data. We have GeoVision. That's like the computer vision for geospatial when you are working with satellite imagery and you are doing a whole lot of stuff. So a lot of things is going on. Just like the way we have vector embedding too. For those that want to build a rack system, we also have geo embedded too in the geospatial domain, where you have different type of. We also have something called geospatial foundational models. Like we have a lot of things going on in the geospatial domain. So it's to tell us how important just GIS is. But today I'm going to talk on Nigeria geodata. So just follow me. So let's talk about data in Nigeria. Number one, the core problem we have in Nigeria is limited access to reliable and standardized data. I will tell you about some things. There are some data that exist in this country that you don't know that they exist and they exist. If you go to NBS for now, you will get point location with attribute and everything, agriculture, national agricultural survey data, standard of living survey data, a lot of survey data that has been done over the years. Even when you talk about the health care, the NGOs, they are collecting data. I was part of a field work that was done in Niger State sometimes last year, where we mapped all the old buildings and household in 4 LGAs. And we're collecting information about those people. You will never find them anywhere. Nobody's putting it online. So how do we actually make this data accessible? How do we connect to this data? A lot of people do not know that in Nigeria, we have Nigeria as a whole, we have states, we have local government, we have ward, we have enumeration area, we have locality to tell you how detailed these breakdown are. But you never know until you know people that have access to this data. And the major problem has been, how do we access this data? If I want to actually work on geospatial analysis for somewhere like Lagos, because of the population of Lagos, I will not really get a good result if I work based on ward level. I want to go to locality or go to enumeration level. But the issue is that you will never even find that data anywhere, but it's somewhere else. I remember something happened last year on LinkedIn. A guy is known for always looking for data that you never knew existed. I've forgotten that guy name. So the guy got Nigerian animation data and posted it on LinkedIn. So I happen to know someone that work in MPOPC. And I was like, you don't get your data, your data don't cast too. So the person now saw it and was like, how did this guy get this data? Weeks later, he told me that thing turned to a problem. Because the issue is that what I heard is that some people in this government agency, they sell this data from the back. So when you tell them that, oh, because there was a time we were trying to build a tool, GeoComponent, and like, oh, let's fuse all this data together. NASDAQ has data, MPOPC has data, NIPOST have data. Let's just bring everything together. Even if it's going to be on a paid platform, let's pay for API to access this data. They said no, because some people are selling this thing from the back. So nobody wants to put it outside there. And Nigeria has data. I don't know if anybody knows about Nigeria Sat1. We actually have satellite data, but you never see the imagery anywhere. You never see it. Even if you go to NASDAQ, they tell you come back tomorrow. Maybe at last, they will give you one small area. And this data, if you have access to them, you can build solutions like very good solutions that can solve a lot of problems across different sectors, but you never have access to that. So when you are talking about this data, we have fragmented data, that is different NGOs. NGOs have data. NGOs have data. It's even worse. How it's worse is that two NGOs can collect a grant for a particular state, and they will map it after each other. They will never share data. They will never share data. I have a friend who worked in one popular NGO, I will not mention the name, and they wanted to go and map a state, and then another NGO mapped the state like a month before them, and they wanted to collect baseline data before they go to the field. They never gave it to them, that they should go and collect their own too. So it happens a lot in the north. If you go to Kano, even me, I will be part of some data collection that will start up very soon. And people keep collecting data. NGOs keep collecting data. But at the end of the day, where do they drop this data? There's even a commission on national spatial data infrastructure. They were doing meetings all around and everything, but there's nothing coming out of it. So how do we as people, how can we come in? What can we do? So that's the idea of Nigeria Geodata. Nigeria Geodata is, I and my friend, we're just trying to let's do our own bit. What can we do? How can we make data accessible? How can we, should I round up? Should I round up? Should I round up? We just started now. Have I used 20 minutes? Ah, all right, let's go. Let's go. So Nigeria Geodata is actually a open source Python framework. What did we do? We tried to build, we found out that there were some people that actually make their data open, like Grid3. Grid3 actually make their data open. And we also know of Overshow Map. If you know Overshow Map, that's coming together of Apple, AWS, Z and Google. No, not Google. One of these other top companies, Meta, to actually create some geospatial data worldwide. So they actually make this data open. And then we also know of OpenStreetMap, OSM, where people actually contribute data. They make their data open. And some other guys that when you search about, but the issue is that every time I get people asking me, Samuel, where can I download data? Samuel, I need this data now. I need location of schools in Nigeria now. I want to do analysis. I need hospitals in Nigeria. I want to do analysis. I need market. I need road and everything. So we now decided that, okay, since people actually need this data, why don't we build a framework that you can easily generate this data? So that was what brought about Nigeria Geodata. So the idea of Nigeria Geodata is to enable you to have an easy workflow to actually extract some of these data that are open, like from their sources, by just writing some simple 2-3 line of Python code, and then you have access to this data. So you can filter by state, filter by local government, and then you can also select, okay, I need schools, I need hospitals, I need something. This is a video actually I did, because I know there will not be time for demo. So this is me actually in my collab notebook trying to install the standard version. So you can see that I installed the standard version. It's very fast, I know. So after that, I tried to import Grid3. So Grid3 is a class, so it's actually a data source. So after I import Grid3, I tried to do grid3.list data. I want to pause it, sorry. I tried to do grid3.list data. Let me pause it here. So after I did grid3.list data, you see I have the list of all the old data available on Grid3. You can see things like settlement, IDP site, market, mosque, hospitals, and a lot of other things like water point. So these data are actually available on Grid3. So you don't need to start looking for those data. So once you just install Nigeria Geodata, you install it, you actually import the source. So the idea is to have many sources. So if your data source is Grid3 source you want to use, you just from Nigeria Geodata import Grid3. If it's OSM, from Nigeria Geodata import OSM. If it's Overshow, from Nigeria. So that way you can easily access a lot of all these data easily. So, sorry, I keep pressing enter. So that way you can, for example, now you see, you want to search all the old health facility in Nigeria. So I just have to put health. So those are the list of health data available in Grid3 as at when I did this video. You can see that there's Lagos State Health Facility, there's Ogun State, there is Nigeria Health Facility, and there are different data there. So in that, so I tried to filter. Uh, I think I made an error here because I was filtering by health instead of filtering by one of those lists that came out. So I have to copy. Okay, I need the Nigeria Health Facility data. Then I just filter. So once I filter, it then gives me a geo data frame. So a geo data frame is like a geometry version of the normal data frame that you have. And as you can see, I was able to generate all the old hospitals in Nigeria, that facility that was on grade 3, and I was able to get the count, which is like 46,000, according to grade 3 data source. Then after that, I can actually visualize, that's preview. So we actually rely on some Python framework like GeoPandas, Longboard. Longboard is actually a big data query visualization engine for geospatial data. It's actually built on Rust, but there is a Python wrapper for it. So that was what we put underneath that allows you to actually visualize Nigeria data. So this thing is loading. You will just see it now that it shows you all the O point of hospitals in Nigeria. So if it's school, if it's anything, you can filter by state, by Lagos State, or by anywhere you want. Let's get for Lagos State alone. You see, I just put the state as Lagos, and then I run the code. I can then see the count. I can then see the count of Lagos State data. I can also preview it. Let's preview Lagos State. So you can see I have data for only Lagos State instead of the whole country. And then let's continue and see the end of this. So I believe that's the end of the video. So let's continue talking. So after building this, we decided to put it under a platform called Spatial Node. Spatial Node is actually a consulting firm owned by a friend. So the modules it employed is that it's on Spatial Node, we are going to be building open source solution for GIS while also working on the consulting part. So we actually have a lot of geospatial Python package idea. Some of them are still sitting on our laptop that we've not even actually pushed outside there. We already have Superstack. That's another thing, doing another thing entirely. So, and one of the things we need is for people to also contribute to this project because, for example, now, this Nigeria geodata, we plan to actually expand it. For example, now we only have grade 3. We plan to add OSM, to add virtual, and sometimes we are busy. We don't have time. So if we have people who are interested in building too, they can also contribute and expand it. We also want to improve the CLI so that you can put it in your command prompt and then use it. And also, we also plan to build more on it. So if you want to actually check it out, that's the GitHub page, and that is the docs. I think I will send out this slide, don't worry. And thank you, everyone. So you can actually connect with me through that portfolio URL. Thank you.
Thank you for being a very
Sometimes I do mentorship on GIS, but recently, okay, I do mentorship on GIS, but currently I'm not doing that. But there are communities you can join, and one of them is there is Spatial Data Science Society of Nigeria. If you go on LinkedIn, SDSSN, Spatial Data Science Society of Nigeria. So you can actually join that community. I'm also there. I actually lead their training, so the person can actually connect to them. So yeah. My slide, I'll send it to the group, the WhatsApp group.